It's time for this week's Political Spotlight, and joining me to shine a light is Councillor Mushiso. He's gone from a banana leaf thatched mud hut in Uganda to being a teacher, a rugby coach and a councillor in West London. Ron, thank you for joining me. So,
thank you so much.
Talk to me. Talk to me about your journey from Uganda?
Well, I mean, it's look back now, 42 years ago. I grew up in a small village.
You're 42?
42, yes.
You look so young. You look like about 22.
No. I guess I drink a lot of water. But
not the water in Devon.
No, the water of southwest London. And I was born out in a village called Bududa in Uganda. And through tragic circumstances, I was sent by my father, who I didn't know at the time, to come to live with him here in London. And it took a while to get from Uganda to going through Kenya, back to Uganda, just to get the visa process sorted out. And then eventually I arrived here in 1993 as a 12-year-old and I never looked back. Do
you remember what your first memories were when you came here? Like when you got out of the airport, what was the first thing you thought?
Lights. That was the first thing, is there were huge lights everywhere. I mean, I'm used to the lights we had in our village were starlight and moonlight and paraffin lamps. And I was amazed by the amount of lights that were there, especially that tunnel at Terminal 2 going through there.
Oh, really?
I was mesmerised. And I remember the day I arrived, because as soon as I got into the house, my dad put a TV on, and it was the World Championships. Linford Christie becoming a world champion at 100 metres. I think it was Gothenburg. So I remember that very, very well.
Wow, that's quite a vivid memory. And when you came to this country, where did you go to school? You must have gone to school somewhere. And what was it like? Did you actually enjoy being in the UK? And how did it compare to UK?
Yeah, I really did. When you're young, you take everything on board. I went through some real tragic, traumatising experiences as a young boy in my village in Uganda.
Can you talk about any of those things? What happened?
Yes. Probably the two things happened. The two big things happened all at the same time. But remember, in the 1980s, Uganda was just coming through the end of the Civil War. And my dad was actually involved in some of those skirmishes. He was with Milton Obote, getting rid of Idi Amin. So we knew violence in our villages growing up, and we could hear gunshots. We're in the mountains. We could hear ricochets, of fighting going on between the men in those villages, hiding away in the last skirmishes of the Civil War. So that violence wasn't new to me in that sense. But what happened was my grandfather was unfortunately attacked and murdered in cold blood by 4 men wielding machetes.
Oh, no.
And I was a witness and one of the surviving people there. 2 of us survived, my aunt and I, and it was that trauma that made my father act and call for me to come and have a new life with him here in London.
Yeah, well, thank goodness.
And so when, school for me was a breath of fresh air. Here I am, I'm mingling with people of different cultures, from Asian community, Southeast Asia. We've got white community. It was a mixture of different cultures, and I really loved it. I didn't know any English, by the way. I was learning the language because I had very, very limited formal education in Uganda. So I was learning the language, learning my way around the culture of this country, and I found sports. So sports was really my ticket out of the quagmire of things that were going on in my head. And I thought, even to this day, I feel that sports is a real good antithesis to anything else that you want to pursue. So sports just calms you down.
It's true, actually. When I started school, because there weren't any black people there at all, apart from my oldest brother, who everyone really liked, and they chased me in the playground. Because they were teasing me, calling me names. They said, give me one thing that you can do better. And I said, I can run. And since then, I ran, and I became all the captains of all the sports, and they all wanted me on their team.
And it's the perfect vehicle for meritocracy.
Yeah.
I couldn't speak language, I couldn't do my maths, I couldn't do my English, but hey, I could play football. And I could play rugby.
It's a language, isn't it, that everybody understands?
It's this language that everyone understands, and it's the diplomatic language that I wish we use more of in this country.
True. So how did you come to be a politician? Because that's where we are now. Yeah.
Yes. So the story thickens because within 2 years of arriving to this country, I was fostered Unfortunately, things didn't work out with my dad and stepmother in the home. And my school spotted this, saw the patterns of behaviour that were not quite right. They called the police, and I was taken away from living with my stepmom and my dad. So I was fostered for from the age of 14 up until I was 22, 23. And my foster parents, I had 6 in total. The second last one was Sharita Thomas, who might be watching this. She lives in Brighton. And my last and most loving foster parents are Slyn and Don Hassel, who are also actually watching this.
Oh, that's hi,
they looked after me for 8 years. And in fact, they still look after me now.
I see.
They really are my mums and dads.
So we've got about a minute left. I want to hear, how did you get into politics? What was this?
So they got me, they saw that I was watching, back in 97, I was watching Tony Blair's, New Labour coming in. And they said, oh, Ron, you must be quite interested in this sort of thing. I said, well, yes, I am interested. However, it wasn't the Labour Party I was interested in. It was just the process of politics in general. And in 2005, I made the splash and joined the Conservative Party. And I've been a member of the party ever since. And I got first elected in 2018
so you've
as a councillor.
Have you been reselected?
Yes, I won my re-election in 2022. But unfortunately, I just recently contested for the London Assembly seat in South West London, but that lost to the Liberal Democrats.
Well, listen, Ron Mushiso, you're a very interesting character. It's not long enough. We're going to bring you back. You have to come back. We have to talk more.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Yeah, that is the fabulous Ron Mushiso. He's a councillor in West London, also a rugby coach and a teacher.